Hey everybody, this is TJR. In July of this year, 2018, Yellow Submarine the movie is returning to the big screen for its 50th anniversary. And I can't begin to tell you how happy this makes me. When I hear critics talk about favorite Beatles movies, it seems that A Hard Day's Night always tops the list. But for me, it's always going to be Yellow Submarine. Yes, I know, except for that little scene at the end, the Beatles themselves aren't really even in the film, so I can understand why most critics never include this one. And perhaps for that reason, A Hard Day's Night is the best Beatles movie. But Yellow Submarine holds a special place in my heart for one reason. It was my first real, true exposure to the music of the Beatles. I kid you not. Oftentimes I hear people describe their first exposure to the Beatles as being the first time they heard Revolver or Sgt. Pepper or the White Album. But for me, it was this movie. Growing up as a kid, I didn't have a radio. I didn't have a record player. I was aware that there was this band that had once existed called the Beatles. I also had this vague memory that they sang a song where the words went, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." But beyond that, I had no real exposure to their music till I saw this movie on TV one afternoon on a local TV station, complete with commercial interruptions. And what an exposure it was. I remember when the film's title song first played during the opening credits, I thought to myself, oh, I've heard this song before. Then after the opening credits, there came that spectacular 3D-like sequence, and for the first time in my life, I heard Eleanor Rigby, and my jaw just dropped. Ah, look at all the lovely people. Ah, look at all the lovely people. I really couldn't believe what I was hearing. This was the Beatles? This was the band that went, yeah, yeah, yeah? This felt more like classical music, but somehow not. As a kid, I didn't have the words to describe it, but my adult self can look back now and say that there was just so much pathos and sadness in this one song that I felt overwhelmed. And the amazing thing is that we were just past the opening credits. I loved all the wild psychedelic art, the deadpan humor, but mostly all those amazing songs. I was never the same after that movie, and I began to seek out the Beatles' music, and it's a musical passion that has only grown with time for me. I get why most critics refer to A Hard Day's Night as the best Beatle movie, but for me it's always going to be Yellow Submarine. And I've only ever seen this movie on TV, so I'm really looking forward to finally getting to see it on the big screen. I'm also kind of wondering who I might take with me. Maybe one of my nieces or nephews who've never ever seen this movie and more than likely have never really been exposed to the music of the Beatles. It might be fun to make this their first real exposure to the Beatles. This is TJR, and what are your thoughts and memories of this motion picture? Or have you never seen it before? Do you plan on going to the theater? I'm anxious to read your comments. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.